Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's finally time for a video that has been quite literally in the works for 8 months because I'm a little bit too type A for my own good. This is why I don't do product reviews anymore, because I am just too thorough. I like to test things for too long and then things keep coming up and I want to test more, and I want to test more, and I want to test more. So here we are. I have been so curious about the brand REPHR ever since I first heard about it from a few influencers I follow here on YouTube, and I gotta admit, I was getting some Morphe vibes. Yeah. And I gotta say, from how the brand started and how, like, condescending they were at first and how much of a splash they made, to now it seems like every influencer I follow is, like, shilling for REPHR with their referral codes. I had to try them out for myself. So I bought these on sale during Black Friday. I have purchased every single product here and nothing was sent to me. This is an unaffiliated, I have no affiliate links with REPHR. This is an unsponsored review because I need to know, is REPHR the new Morphe? Because it sure as heck feels like it. So this is going to be kind of a long video. We're going to start out by going through the history of the brand. They were just founded in 2019, but there's a bit to go through. We're going to talk about the brand. We're going to talk about every single brush that I picked up. Now, there are a few new brushes that came out that I was not able to pick up for this video just because I am now in a no-buy. So all of these brushes I picked up before my no-buy started. Most of them I have been testing for 8 months because I picked up a good amount of them during the last Black Friday sale back in 2023. And I've been testing them since. So I have a bunch of face brushes, and I have literally every single one of their eyeshadow brushes, like all of them. Look, there's so many, I have all of them. And I've been using them extensively for months, and I just can't wait to talk about it to someone who's gonna, like, understand what I'm talking about, and not my poor husband, who has no idea what REPHR is, or what makeup, you know, what the makeup community is talking about, or what, like, anything is. So, thankfully, I've got this channel, and so I get to just talk to you guys, and for some reason you enjoy it. Before we jump into the main video, don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you like this kind of random content that I put out every single week. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you're notified when a new video comes out. Every single week. I said that twice. It's been a long week. Okay, so I had to do some research for this video, and I haven't, like, dug into this brand. So before I was planning this video, all I knew about the brand was that they came out in 2019 and that it was founded by 3 engineering men, and literally their tagline was, "Makeup brushes created by men who know nothing about makeup." Which, where else would that fly? Like, what other company could you found and you say, like, I make chef knives, but I don't know anything about cooking? Or, I make wheels, but I don't know anything about cars, you know? It was very weird. So let me actually, like, look at my research notes and talk through the founding of REPHR. So according to Google and Perplexity and Gemini AI, REPHR was founded in 2019 by 3 engineers who, as their initial marketing stated, knew nothing about makeup. I actually didn't know this until I started looking into the history of the brand for this video, but they started as a Kickstarter. This was the Kickstarter right here. It was back in 2019. So the Kickstarter ran from June 10th to June 30th, 2019. And in those 20 days, they raised over $500,000 for the brand. And I'm kind of shocked because the, like, story marketing here is pretty, condescending, to say the least. So here we go. REPHR, a beauty company by 3 engineers who knew nothing about makeup. So, this is coming directly from the Kickstarter page. Listening to our customers is at the core of what we do. Being engineers who don't use makeup, we strive to approach the design process with a bias-free mindset to create something that truly reflects what people want. The company name REPHR comes from the word reference, in that we use community input and feedback as a reference point to design beauty products. Dead ass. I thought REPHR was meant referral. Like, because that's what anybody does. They're all affiliate links. Anyway, continuing on. Over the last 12 months, we've traveled across the US and Canada and met with thousands of pro artists and beauty enthusiasts with the goal of answering one question. What's broken in the beauty industry right now? How do we not only fix it, but take it to a whole new level? Which, you know, again, to have the audacity of a mediocre man to just say, you know what, I know nothing about this industry, but I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix all of it. I'm so salty about it, which is another reason why I was so curious about these brushes in the first place. But oh my god, the audacity. Here's where we come to the rub. We quickly noticed a trend where brands are trying to convince consumers that they need several brushes for each application. The brow set, the eye set, the complexion set, the sculpting set, the list goes on. People's brush collections keep on growing, but there's a severe lack of quality and performance. So with no preconceived notions of what makes a perfect makeup brush, since we've never used one before, we did what engineers are trained to do: listen to the community and collect data. Okay, so then it goes on to their goals and how many times they've gotten feedback on their brushes, and they said, matter-of-factly, that their first brush set failed because they had too many brushes in it. They had 12 brushes and they said it was too many. I'm gonna go ahead and put a screenshot and a count of how many brushes are for sale on REPHR right now. Spoiler alert, it is way more than 12. So they've given up on that entirely, but I will have a rant about that later on in this video. So anyway, long story short, their initial goal was to come up with a small set of multitasking brushes because they knew what's best, because they're engineers, and you silly people who love makeup, you're using too many brushes. Yeah. So this went over like a lead balloon with, I remember the people I followed on YouTube at the time, like everyone was like, oh, this is a piece of shit, how dare you guys talk to me? And it was so expensive. Like, the backers, there were different levels of backing, and they were going to sell this 5-piece brush set for almost $170. And if you backed the Kickstarter, it was only $100 only. I think that's a lot of money. Oh, interesting. They also had different handles available. So for the Kickstarter, they had different styles of handles you could pick from, and they had their timeline and yada, yada, yada. When I first heard of this, I heard about the 3 men that, like, I heard about the founders and heard what they said, and I read some things on Reddit, and I was just like, huh. I don't like that. And so I kind of wrote them off until I started hearing, like, people I trust and follow on YouTube rave about their brushes. And that got me thinking, where else have I seen this before? Morphe. So this brand relies heavily on smaller influencers. And by smaller, I mean like under 100,000 followers. I've heard, and take this with a grain of salt, I was trolling through, like, old Reddit posts, comments from Temptalia, and that the brand like really catered to that smaller beauty influencer demographic because the brushes would do better there. So they were focusing on the smaller community, the smaller creators, because they knew they would push the brushes more. And again, Morphe did that same thing, except 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago now, actually. Ooh. And speaking of Reddit threads and anything, I could not talk about the founding of this brand without talking about Temptalia, because Temptalia was like the, and still is, the like beacon of makeup reviews. And Temptalia made a bit of a splash when she refused to review the brushes at all. So here are the comments from one of her posts from back, I believe, in 2019. Someone asked her if she was going to review the REPHR brand, and she said, sorry, I have no plans to purchase REPHR brushes. Their marketing spiel origin story was so off-putting that I have no desire to spend money at that brand when there are hundreds of brushes that I haven't reviewed from other brush brands. And when she was asked to explain why she didn't want to review them, this is what she posted. Their tagline of luxury makeup brushes designed by 3 engineers who knew nothing about makeup, who are all men, and just a general patronizing tone. As engineers who loved efficiency, we were not satisfied with the idea that a person needs 12 brushes to do beautiful makeup. The same patronizing concept of brands that say you're wasting your time, you don't need all of that, wear less makeup, yada yada yada. In one sentence, the community is being oversold with these brush sets and how many brushes they should have, and then they simultaneously offer face brushes, 6 of them, eye brushes, 8 of them at launch. It just really grated on me personally, but I certainly don't expect everyone else was rubbed the same way. There's a lot of marketing about innovation, doing and being better than, but the reality is they talk about a lack of versatility multitasking brushes, and yet the majority of brushes sold, even though sold in, big sets by big brand, are very similar in general shape to REPHR brushes. They don't provide insight into what type of goat hair is used, and they don't provide standard measurements that Japanese brush brands tend to do. Because like the big thing with REPHR is that it's supposed to be luxury Japanese handcrafted goat hair brushes, but at a more affordable price. Keep that in mind for later. I think it's cool that they took feedback from the community, but outside of that, there's nothing here that makes me want to take a leap when I have so many other brands and brushes I've tested and could be reviewing. She concluded by saying, I'd be more interested if it was a brand who was creating synthetic brushes that rivaled the performance and organic texture of natural hair brushes, or if they spent more time on creating brush sets that worked for different types of features or application methods, as there's no such thing as a brush that works just perfectly for everyone, because everyone is so different. So yeah, all of that, wow. So yeah, I'm not like exaggerating when I say that in 2019, when this brand was first founded, it left a bitter taste in everybody's mouths. So how did we get from there to now everyone has a REPHR affiliate link. So they sent out a lot of PR. That's how. They literally sent out so much PR to mid-range, small influencers that everyone was talking about them. And they are goat natural hair brushes. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to get sued. So they are goat hair brushes. They're all supposedly made in Japan. I don't know if we can get confirmation on that. But all of them are natural hair brushes, except for the ones that specifically say they're synthetic, like this one, I believe the brush number 12. And then they have a new set that came out that I picked up version 1.0 of that is specifically synthetic hair brushes for creams and liquids. Okay, going back to the summary I got from Perplexity AI about their initial marketing push. Their initial marketing approach, while innovative, also garnered criticism. Some felt it was condescending towards makeup enthusiasts and artists, dismissing the value of a curated brush collection. Others found the emphasis on engineering over artistry to be off-putting, which is also another really, really good point. They were trying to make it like scientific when really makeup is more of an art. I also asked the AI to give me some like key talking points around the founding of this brand, and they gave me 3 bullet points. Number 1, innovation versus tradition. REPHR's focus on engineering and functionality challenged traditional ideas about makeup brushes, sparking debate about the role of artistry and individual preference. Number 2, quality and performance. Like we mentioned, while many users praised the quality and performance of the brushes, some questioned whether or not they lived up to the luxury price point. And I just have an issue with their pricing that we're going to get to next. And last, we have inclusivity and representation. The all-male founding team and initial marketing raised questions about the brand's understanding of and commitment to diverse customer needs. Now, before I get into the discussion on pricing, I want to take a minute to say that I looked and I researched and I searched high and low. I don't think they've ever acknowledged how like grating this initial like founding story came off to a lot of people in the beauty community. And the funny thing is that they've completely done a 180 since. And I think they did like the influencer trick of just like ignoring everything and keep pushing and keep releasing new products and releasing new stuff and ignoring everything, because they honestly, they're doing the exact opposite of what the founders said they were going to do. You know, you don't need 12 whole brushes, you need a curated brush collection. They sell dozens of brushes now. And not only do they sell brushes, between when I picked these up initially and now, they've expanded to include skincare and body care, and they're going into acrylic organizers for makeup desks now. So they're throwing everything at the wall, which is another thing that made me think of Morphe, because they expanded. Remember, Morphe was just brushes. Morphe was just eyeshadow brushes at first, and then they moved into white labeled makeup, and then they moved into like literally everything else. We're starting to see something similar with REPHR. Okay, so I want to bring you guys to the REPHR website as it is right now. I'm filming on July 21st, so if the website has changed since between now and editing, it might look a little bit different. But as of today, we have this as our main screen. They just came out with the synthetic version 2 product for testing. So what they have is a regular shop where you can buy things at list price, but the list price I think is incredibly inflated. But they have what's also called the concept store. So this is where they will rotate newer products, some older products, and they're basically half off. And the catch is that once you buy them and you test them out, you're supposed to leave a review. Now, there's nothing like, honestly, there's nothing that says that you have to leave this review. Like, I placed many orders and I didn't write any reviews until this month, and they said they want feedback after 2 months. I waited 8 months to give feedback, so I don't think there's anything here that specifically is going to, like, prevent you from placing another order. So this tells me that their prices are just bunk. Like, they just made these numbers up because they could not keep going with these prices in the concept store if they were taking such a loss on their products. So straight out the gate, I don't believe any of their regular MSRP prices. Just ignore that price because it doesn't exist. It's just a made-up number. Because every single product, when you go to look at it, this will be the product page. You'll see purchase options down at the bottom. You'll see your regular MSRP, and then you'll see the concept store discount. So when I'm reviewing and taking a look at these brushes, I'm really only considering that concept store as the actual retail price, because I don't think anyone is going to look at this and choose to pay double the price for no reason. So I think that's there just to give the illusion of like a sale price. And it works, quite frankly. And it also helped me because when I purchased all of these, I'll throw the list up here of all the brushes that I picked up. I bought the majority of them on Black Friday. So I got half off of the concept store price. So I got, I think, like the lowest price you could for purchasing these on your own with no affiliate link or affiliate code. They also do Afterpay, which that could be a whole nother video in and of itself, how widespread Afterpay has become and how we are in very late stage capitalism, my friends. But that is not for today. Okay, we talked about the founding of the brand. We talked about why I think they are so widespread now. We talked about how now they have a million bajillion brushes for sale. So let's go ahead and review million bajillion brushes. Okay, so to start with the brush by brush review, I want to go through the face brushes first. Starting off with brush number 4. So according to the website, this is the Angled Do-It-All, an ultra soft cheek brush that's angled to enable extreme versatility. Originally designed for contouring, the number 4 has also been calibrated for precision application of blush, highlight, and bronzer. And I have to say, I love this brush for liquid blush. It blends out liquid blush like an absolute dream. It washes nicely. It did stain a little bit because I do use this mostly for liquid blush, but like it's already on my list. I want another one of these just so that I have a backup on hand. This I think is like very much worth the hype. I really enjoy this brush. Next we have brush number 5. So this is the if you could only have one cheek brush. We'll see about that. According to the website, this is an ultra soft cheek brush that will instantly elevate your face makeup in a luxurious way. Okay. This flagship cheek brush has been a community favorite since its debut and is designed for blush, powder, highlight, and bronzer. So just throw everything in there. Personally, I think this brush is just okay. I will go ahead and say I'm not a huge fan of these brushes from REPHR for powder products. Just none of them really perform well enough, you know, to really match the other brushes that I already have as favorites. So this one didn't really stand out to me much at all. If I could go back, I probably wouldn't have picked this brush up just because it's not, you know, great at anything in particular. It's not a great blush brush. It's not a great bronzer brush. It's not a great highlighter brush, you know, it's just kind of there. So really, I've just been using this kind of brush off excess powder after I powder my face. And that's not worth however much I had to pay for this. Next we have brush number 19, and according to the website, this is the Candle-Shaped Multitasker, a luxurious candle-shaped cheek brush that's extremely versatile. This brush is incredibly soft and is sloped on all sides to a varying degree, providing you with maximum flexibility during application. Ideal for natural makeup looks, this brush is perfect for blush, highlight, contour, and powder. So I don't understand why they like advertise their brushes as being like perfect for everything. I don't know if that's just because the founders are just like, yeah, use this brush for anything, it's fine. This, I actually do like this for highlighter, powder highlighter, and for powder blush. It's not my favorite powder blush product, because like I said earlier, these aren't the best performing brushes I've ever tried when it comes to powder products, but compared to all the REPHR brushes, this one does perform the best with powder. Again, for me and my makeup tastes, this isn't necessarily a like necessary brush to have in my collection, so if I could go back, I also wouldn't keep this, or I wouldn't have bought it in the first place, to be honest. This might be great for someone who does a lot of baking on the under eyes and wants to have something to either brush that away or to apply powder. This wouldn't really be my pick for like blending out powders, but if you're just like putting on a big chunky layer of powder, it sounds terrible, but I mean, it's honestly, you could probably get any brush to do that. So I just don't think this one's necessary. All right, so next we have brush number 22. This guy is big. Look at it. So this is, according to the website, their sumptuous and luxurious flagship bronzer brush. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've never been someone who can use this gigantic kind of powder brush for bronzer on my face. I don't know if my face is just small. Is my face just oval? But like whenever I use bronzer or try to use bronzer with a brush this big, it just gets all over my face. And I've never been able to do it. So I did not use this for bronzer. I honestly just used this for face powder, and it was okay. Not my favorite face powder brush. It's too big for bronzer for me. It is like super thick and super soft. So if you are looking for like a dupe for maybe, I don't know, like that big Tom Ford bronzer brush, this might be up your alley, but even like according to their website at REPHR, this is $110 retail, which I'll talk during the main part of the video about their pricing. But even at their discount, I think it's $60 right now, but then when I bought it on sale, it was probably around $30. I think $30 is probably around what I would expect to pay for a brush like this. I know it's natural hair, but it is fraying, and I've noticed that like this part, when I last washed these brushes, I don't know if you can see, but like here it started to like fray from the ferrule already. And I've only had these for 6 months, and I've been washing them a normal amount, the same as I wash all the rest of my brushes, and they don't all do that. So that is unfortunate. I will say they are very soft. I could sit here and just do this all day because they're so soft. But again, I don't think this is necessary for me in my collection, and I probably wouldn't have spent the money if I knew what I knew now. Now, to take this in a completely different direction, a brush that I love and I cannot get enough, this is brush number 24. So according to the website, this is supposed to be a blush brush. So brush 24 is a sumptuous cheek brush that's incredibly soft with substantial structure and density, designed for pigmented application of blush, bronzer, and highlight, and foundations. I don't know why they even bother writing descriptions on their website, because it's like every brush can be used for everything. But to me, this is like my ideal perfect bronzer brush. Now let's compare it to the size of what they said was a bronzer brush. Yeah. This is like the sun, but this is my perfect size, shape, everything for bronzer, liquid and powder, which is kind of surprising for me. So I originally bought one, and I went and I already bought a second one. I didn't buy it during my no buy. This was like 3 months after I tried the first one. I went out and bought another one because I love this brush so much. It has got like the perfect density to it. It's soft. The bristles pick up just enough of product, and I will say, like, these perform so well with liquids and creams. I was surprised. I was shocked. I've tried cream bronzer. I tried this with blush. It wasn't my favorite. I have another brush that I liked better for blush, which was the angled brush, but this one just works so great. Like, this has become an everyday go-to for bronzer for me, which shocked me so much. So this one, I say, is 100% worth the hype, and I would really actually like highly recommend you try this out if you're in the market for a really good bronzer brush, and all those big bronzer brushes don't work out that well for you. All right, moving on. Next we have brush number 33. According to the website, this is a fusion between their flagship brushes 1 and 2. This one and done brush will undoubtedly become a workhorse in your brush collection. So they don't actually tell you what to use it for. Fun fact. I actually really like this for mixing foundations whenever I have to mix foundations together, or if I have to mix like a white lightener or a darkener into a foundation to get it to match me better. And concealer. This actually works really well for just tapping out concealer on my under eyes. Again, at the regular MSRP price, this is way overpriced, but it does compare for me to like the concealer brushes from MAC. So if that's what you're looking for, but you want it in a natural hair bristle, yeah, this isn't terrible. But again, I think this one's a little bit overhyped because it gets the job done, but it doesn't wow me like some of the other brushes have. Next, we have brush number 35. So this is a strikingly small face brush that's designed for ultra precision blending and application of blush, contour, and highlight. I swear to God, they need to get someone to actually like, I mean, people are testing these. They just need to write better copy, I swear. Again, so use the brush for anything. I tried using this with like eyeshadow. I tried using it with concealer. This didn't really work well at anything. It's got like a kind of weird shape to it. And you know what I compared it to? It reminded me of like a less good version of this Sigma brush, and unfortunately the name did wear off, but this was from the Taylor Wynn and Sigma collection, and I love this for concealer, but this is just too, I don't know if you can see, this is more dense than the REPHR one. It's got a similar shape to it, but the Sigma one actually works really, really well. It's fantastic for concealer, whereas this one, it doesn't really do anything well. The concealer comes out looking patchy. The eyeshadow, it doesn't really grab onto pigment well enough, so this one's just kind of an oddball out and not one of my favorites at all. Ooh, okay, here we go, getting into our next brush. This is brush number 36, and this one's supposed to be specifically for hooded eyes. So yet another brush in their collection that's been calibrated for the hooded eye. This multitasker enables efficient application and seamless blending of eyeshadow. Also a favorite for blending concealer. Okay, so I have to say, the shape is different. It's different and it's unique, and I do like this for applying eyeshadow all over my lid. That being said, I can use just about any big eyeshadow brush to do that. This doesn't apply concealer as well as the 33, brush, so it's not my favorite for concealer. It's just okay at concealer. It's just okay at eyeshadow. Again, it's kind of one of those brushes that's like, do we really need this? I don't think so. Okay, last but not least, for face brushes, we have the B01, 2, and 3, which were the original Liquids and Creams prototype collection. As of filming, they came out with a version 2 of these brushes, but those came out after I started my no-buy, so I was not allowed to buy them, so we just have these for testing out today. So let's go through them one by one. First, we have the B01 brush, which is a concealer, a compact and slightly angled brush that's densely packed with synthetic fibers that's optimized for concealer. And this works okay for concealer. I still like my Sigma brush better for concealer. It's just a little bit bigger and a little bit more dense. But again, as you can see from the staining, I've been using this for eyeshadow. I also really like it for all over eyeshadow application, especially when I'm using a shimmer or a glitter or anything that's not a matte. This picks up the pigments really nicely and blends them out everywhere. Next we have B02, which was supposed to be a foundation brush, but for me it was a little too, I don't know, it didn't work out. Let's read the description. So the foundation is a substantial foundation brush that looks and feels remarkably like natural hair. So these are all synthetic fibers. The densely packed synthetic bristles feel extremely soft, absorb minimal product, and provides an effortless, streak-free finish. So I have to disagree with that. This is not streak-free. Whenever I tried blending out anything with this, I got the worst, like, streaks, splotches. It didn't matter what foundation I tried it with. This just did not blend out well at all. The most I could do with this is just, like, glob foundation on, and then I had to go in with another brush or a sponge to blend it out. So I was not a huge fan of this, and I don't think a lot of people were either, because they completely reformulated this for the new prototype brush. And last but not least, we have B03, which is a cream shadow, which is interesting because I would never would have tried this on cream shadow. Based on the best-selling #1 brush with a slightly modified shape and synthetic bristles optimized for cream shadows. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the #1 so you can compare. I pulled out every brush except #1. All right, that's a max. Mini, there we go. All right, so here's the #1 brush, and here is the B03. So it is chunkier. You can see it's thicker, and I didn't really like this for blending out. Spoiler alert, I love a lot of their eyeshadow brushes. And it's mainly because they are so small and, like, intricate. So I'm allowed to do, or it allows me to do a lot of intricate work on my hooded eyes. But this one just reminds me so much of the MAC 217, but, like, it goes like, if that makes sense. It's just too, like, spread out for me, and I'm not a huge fan. So ultimately, these ones were a bit of a flop for me, though I will continue using this for eyeshadow. I'm glad that they're working on it, but ultimately, yeah, these were kind of a flop. All right, moving into the eye brushes. So what I picked up on Black Friday was the complete eye collection. So at the time of purchasing, this was all of the eyeshadow brushes that they had out. And this kit also came with brushes 33, 34, and 36. So I'm going to go through these, and then I'm going to go through the mini and the max collections that I also picked up after this came out. So brush #1. This is, according to the website, the community's favorite do-it-all blending brush, and I have to agree. I think out of all of these, this is my favorite brush. It is very much along the lines of the MAC 217, the Sigma E25. It's like that perfect shaped blending brush. And, like, this is just, it's so good. It's really, really good. And I also love the mini and max version of this as well. This is so good. This is one of, like, my new go-to eyeshadow brushes just for blending. It blends out beautifully, and it's such a nice small size. So this isn't the mini, this is the regular #1, and it's, like, a good size and shape. My issue is that when it comes to a lot of the blending brushes that I've seen and I've used and I've tested, they're all just really big for my hooded lids. This one is just so good. It is so perfect. And just for reference, I'm going to grab my Sigma and MAC so I can compare. All right, apologies. I think I decluttered the Sigma brush because I wasn't really using it that often, but I have the MAC, I have the 217, and then the 217S to compare this to. So this is the REPHR. I'm going to brush these nicely in order over to the side, and we're just going to look at these. So if you look I'm going to turn them all sideways. They have a very similar shape. These two are MAC. Actually, all three of these are MAC. I'm going to pull out the stained MAC so that we have the MAC 217 and the MAC 217S. So even for the MAC 217, this one is just a little bit smaller. And if you've noticed, it's got longer bristles. So I think those longer bristles, while still keeping it nice and narrow like this, just helps so much with the blending process. And it works so well. And then for a more affordable comparison, this is from AOA Studio. This is the E129 brush. This is the closest brush from their collection. So they've got similar length of bristles, but the AOA Studio is much wider. So this one blends out decently, but it's not as good as the MAC or the REPHR. And actually, in my opinion, I kind of prefer the REPHR more than the MAC when it comes to blending. Like, these two are so close. They're kind of neck and neck. But I will say, I've had this MAC brush for years, and it holds up, and it works very well. So I have to see how well the REPHR will hold up over the years, because I've only had this for 6 months. I've washed it many times. I have seen a couple of bristles fray. We'll see it in some other brushes down the line, but nothing like crazy shedding has happened yet. So far, I think this is probably one of the only eyeshadow brushes to completely live up to the hype that I've seen REPHR get from quite a few influencers. And you know what, since we're talking about the number one, I'm just going to go ahead and bring out the mini and the max version of the number one as well. So we've got the mini right here that I love. This is probably one of my most used REPHR brushes ever. It is a little bit stained up at the top just because I've been using it so much. This is the number one, and then this is the number one max. I like how narrow they kept it. They really did just make it like a bigger version of the same size and shape brush. I don't use the max as much because it kind of gets similar to some of the other eyeshadow brushes that they have. So like this is the brush 16. 16 is pretty close to the 01 max. So there is some overlap there, which is actually pretty funny once you think about what REPHR's, like, you know, founders thought at the beginning. It's like, you ladies don't need all these brushes, and now they've got so many brushes they're technically duping themselves. But I really enjoy this brush. The number one just like knocks it out of the park for me. Okay, number one. Next we have number two. This is a versatile high density shader that will pack on shadow like no other. And it works okay. It's not my favorite. I actually prefer this one. It's more of a concealer brush. This is brush number 21. We will get to that one. But this one just works okay. Not my favorite. I think it works just as good, if not slightly worse, than what you would see from MAC or Sigma comparatively. Next, we have brush number 3. Now, this is the pro favorite pencil brush that achieves the impossible balance between softness and precision. And I gotta say, I agree. This is probably, along with number 23, some of the smallest pencil brushes that I have found, and these work so well. I especially love these for blending out shadow on my lower lash line, but they're super soft. They stay in their shape. I've had this again for 6 months. I've washed this many times, and it stayed in the shape, whereas other small little pencil brushes I've tried like this, over time they start to fray and they're not as precise anymore. But this one I actually do enjoy. Next we have brush number 12. Now this one is a high impact smudge brush that's been meticulously balanced to achieve the optimal density, firmness, and softness. Now this one is a little bit stained by the makeup brush cleaner that I was using, but I also like this one. This one to me, for my small hooded lids, is the perfect size and shape for blending like a darker deep color right in the corner of your eye. So like at the outer V, if you don't want that color going too far out, this is the perfect thing to blend it right there and keeping it, the shadow right where you want it. It's nice. It's honestly something pretty unique. I haven't seen like a thick smudger that is this precise from any other brand in quite some time, so I really do enjoy this one. Alrighty, this is brush number 13. This is the smallest crease brush in their lineup that offers unparalleled precision, yet unexpectedly fluffy and soft. I love this. It's a tiny little crease brush. It's perfect for my size and my eyes. These two are like my go-tos. This is brush number 13 and brush number 14. They're both crease brushes. They do fray out a little bit as you use them and as you wash them, so they're not going to stay like tight and precise like the pencil brushes will. But I found that like over time, when brushes do that, they tend to work better as long as they're blending brushes and they're not like precision brushes. Can I speak today? Maybe. But I really do enjoy these. I gotta say, like, when it comes to the eyeshadow brushes, I do enjoy most of them from REPHR. Next we have brush number 15, and this is a versatile, medium-sized crease brush built for impactful pigments and effortless blending. Again, I like this. We're getting into the brushes that are a little too big for me to use in my faux crease now. This is probably the biggest I could actually use in my quote-unquote crease. For all of us hooded-eyed people, if you know, you don't really blend out in your crease because once you look up, it's completely gone, so you're blending into your faux crease. This is probably the biggest I could use. I still like using this for blending out like lighter shades. The brow bone kind of shades is what I would use this one. And for this one, this is brush number 16, and brush 16 is a large tapered crease brush that's ideal for applying a quick wash of base color on the lids. And quite frankly, that is what I use it for. It is nice. I don't use it as much as I use the other brushes, especially the ones that I talked about in the face brush section that I use for applying color all over my lid. And if you can see, this is probably a really good example right here of the brushes or the bristles fraying. Right here, you can see some of them are coming out. I wash all these brushes the exact same way. I dry them in my Sigma dry-in set. I'll throw a picture up right here so you can see what it looks like. I take very good care of my brushes, and this one is still like fraying and shedding. Out of all the brushes I've tried, this one, these large like tapered blending brushes tend to shed the most. So if you don't like shedding, I would stick away or stay clear from brushes 16 and 27 or any of like their large fluffy crease blending brushes, because those tend to shed the most. So yeah, I mean, if I hadn't bought the entire eye collection, I probably wouldn't have picked this brush up on its own, but in conjunction with the rest of the brushes, I do think it's nice. Moving on to brush number 21, this is an impactful shader designed for shimmers and cream products, inspired and made specifically at the request of the beauty community. So, I like this. I do like this for applying cream shadow, for applying shimmers, anything that I'm using with a glitter glue. I also like using this to apply glitter glue. Now what I don't like this for is putting on my base of eye primer. I tend to use my fingers to blend out my eye primer. If I use this for eye primer, I notice that obviously it tends to get sticky and it doesn't really blend out eye primer. Like if you're using a thinner eye primer formula like the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion or the Milani eyeshadow primer, this does not blend that out nicely at all. Just use your fingers. If you're using a thicker eyeshadow primer like a MAC Paint Pot, this works well. Again, I don't think I would have picked this up on its own, but since I got it as part of the kit, I do enjoy it. Now I'm gonna skip the line and talk about these two itty bitty brushes here that I love. And one of the big reasons that I love them is because they're so tiny and they are so precise, and I rarely see brushes this tiny. They're so nice for detailed work on the lid if you have hooded lids, and also for your lower lash line. So this is brush 23 and brush 29. So brush 23 is the smallest and finest pencil brush in their collection, which agreed, that thing is itty bitty. And brush 29 is firm and dense. Their very first liner brush is optimized for winged eyeliner looks. Now, I don't use this for eyeliner. I use this specifically for packing on color on my lower lash line, and it is perfect for that. It is so tiny, it is so precise, it is so beautiful. The smallest brush in my collection besides this is this, and you can see there's a huge difference there between this brush and that brush. So these have become, again, a part of my everyday makeup routine for blending on the lower lash line. I've never gotten like such precise, such blended, beautiful lower lash line looks than when I was using these. Next we have brush 26, and this is the largest pencil brush in their collection, which allows effortless work on inner and outer corners with speed and with unexpected level of accuracy. Now, this is my bad. I have never tried this for like an inner corner highlight, and I kind of want to, but like my current inner corner highlight go-to brush is this one from Sigma. It is so old, it is worn off, but I think it was just called the inner corner highlight brush. And I love how this one allows me to get, not only does it pick up pigment really, really well, especially sparkle pigment, but it just places that pigment in so effortlessly. And this one is so much thicker. I don't know how it would work. So I need to test that out. Apologies, I did not test that before this video, but I have used this lower lash line. I've used this on the outer V, and it works decently. Again, if this wasn't part of the kit, I don't know if I would have picked it up separately, unless I was specifically testing it for that inner corner highlight, because that does intrigue me. But as of now, to be determined. Okay, I touched upon this briefly earlier, but this is brush number 27, and this is the fluffiest blending brush in their lineup. I don't get a whole lot of use out of this one just because it is so big and fluffy. I'll use this if I'm trying to get a wash of color all over my lid, and the rest of my brushes that I use that for are dirty. That's about it. Alrighty, and last but not least, this is brush number 28. Brush number 28 is a shader that excels at precision application of liquids, creams, and shimmers. And I have to say, I don't like their shaders that are like the white natural hair bristles. I don't think they're formulated well for that kind of application. Like, I get a better application for shimmers and everything using this one, which I believe is synthetic. So again, I wouldn't have picked up 28 or possibly number 2 if it hadn't been in the kit already, but since I have it, I do use it. They're not like completely useless like some of the face brushes that I tried. So those are all the original eyeshadow brushes. Let's talk about the minis. Again, I think this kit is also going to blow up if it hasn't already, because these minis are some of the smallest, most precise, beautiful brushes that I have tried. We've already talked about the number 1, so let's talk about the number 14. Alright, so this is brush 14 mini. I'm going to go ahead and show the 14 regular size. So this is the 14 regular, which was already pretty small, and then this is the 14 mini. It's almost a pencil brush. It's like firm enough that you could kind of use it as a pencil brush, but it is long enough that it makes it kind of silly using it as a pencil brush. But I do like this. Like, this actually allows me to get into my faux crease with some level of precision that I haven't been able to previously. So I do enjoy the 14 mini and the 14 regular. The 14 max, I might as well just pull this out. That's the 15. So the 14 max is, again, like a bit of an overlap. It's almost the same as just like the regular 15 brush. You see that? So I think the issue they get is that the mini set is great. It's totally different from their other brushes. They're precise, they're good. When you get to the max brushes, essentially a 14 max is a different brush that they already have existing. So I think the max brushes are a bit overlap and you don't need them, but the minis, if you have hooded or small eyes, they're really gonna like help you out with your blending. Again, this is adorable little baby. This is the 13 mini. Let me pull out the 13. So this is the 13 normal and this is the 13 mini. So itty bitty baby. I do enjoy both of these. And like a broken record, I'm gonna pull out the 13 max. And the 13 max, again, we get some overlap. It's very similar to the, not that one. Again, pretty similar to the 15. So I don't think you need the 13 max or anything. They're really just so comparable to the regular size 15 brush, so you don't really need that. But I do enjoy the precision of the small minis. Alright, the number 2 mini, I gotta admit, I don't use this a whole lot. Again, I don't really like their kind of natural hair paddle brushes. I don't think they pick up pigment as well as the synthetic ones, not only from here but also from MAC. So this one, and it's also not that much smaller than the 2. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller, but like this is one of the minis that I don't think was really necessary. And last but not least, we have the 15 mini, which is another great kind of crease blending brush. Let me pull out, well, now that you look at it, the 15 mini is basically the 14. So I think they should have done more like comparison testing before coming out with the mini and max sets, because you get overlap like this. Now, for someone like me who has a big eyeshadow collection, loves eyeshadow, and loves having multiples of eyeshadow brushes, so I don't have to wash my brushes as often, this is nice. I don't mind it. But for you, if you're looking for something and you don't want to buy duplicates or you just want brushes for a certain thing, this could get annoying. So you don't really need the 15 mini if you already have the 14. And I'll just pull in the max. The 15 max is so much bigger. So let me pull down the 14. So this is the 15 mini, the 15 max. Let's pull out the 15 regular sized. So here we go. So it's the mini, the regular, and the max. I don't think the 15 needed a mini or a max, to be frank, considering the mini is basically just the 14 brush, and the max is basically just the 16 brush. Very similar. So I wouldn't recommend the max set if you're looking at just getting their regular brushes, because you're going to have a lot of overlap. I would recommend the minis if you are interested in the smaller versions of more detailed precision brushes. I don't know if they're going to come out with these individually. Right now, I think they're only available in a set. So if you have to get the set, I don't think it's that bad if there's only like one dud out of the set. I do think the rest of the brushes, those 4 brushes, are going to be worth it. Okay, and I think we've covered all the maxes already throughout the rest of this video, but I've already proven my point. The maxes I don't think are really worth it because you just get overlap with other brushes that already exist. All right, next, an honorable mention for the eyelash curler. So they have 2 different types of curvature available on their eyelash curler. So they have what's called the 18R, and they also have the 20R. According to the website, the curler, compared to the original curler, which is this one, the 18R is more compact and narrow, making it ideal for users that find most curlers, especially ones sold in North America, too large and flat. So the 18R is going to be great if you have small eyes. I have like almond shaped eyes, and I've been on this journey looking for like the perfect fitting eyelash curler. And I was like at the point where I was like, you know, it doesn't exist. I found one, the Shiseido, that kind of fits well. And I was like, well, you know what? No, it doesn't really fit anybody's eye perfectly, right? Well, I was wrong because this one literally fits my eye perfectly. It's great. And to be shallow, I love that it's black. I love that it's goth. I love that it's black and the refill is red. It's great. I love the double-barreled handle. It doesn't feel like it's digging into my fingers. Like, this actually feels like luxury to me in an eyelash curler, which sounds a little silly when I say it out loud, but this is actually great. I've gotten rid of the rest of my eyelash curlers. I don't need them because I love this one. Now, this is one I might get a backup of or just have another one so I can travel with it and not freak out if I lose it. But this has been fantastic. And it comes with 5 refill pads, which is so great. And these refill pads, I've noticed, last a lot longer on me than other ones from other eyelash curlers that I've tried in the past. Okay, last but not least, we've got these 2 honorable mentions, the hydration creams. Now, when I placed these orders, they were large enough that I got a free, you know, product with it. In the first order I placed, I got the Intense Hydration Cream, which I used over the winter. In the second order, I got the Light Hydration Cream, and then I didn't actually get around to using that cream until, you know, late spring, early summer. And that worked out so well for me. I don't know, like, if they're, like, going to go into full skincare lines or not, but I was blown away by how, like, nice these creams were. And I was not expecting, like, anything coming out of this. But if you look at their sale price for these, it's $14. It comes with a good amount of product. I love the packaging on this. It's like that nice thick quality aluminum so that I can actually like squeeze and get everything out, but it feels luxurious in a way. It's like what L'Occitane was trying to do with their packaging but failed at because they're cheaping out. Like, this doesn't feel cheapy to me. I used these up completely. I talked about them in my empties videos. I'll link them up at the top if you're interested. But like, again, I was shocked at these, and if they stick at around that $14 price point, this to me could become like a regular in my skincare routine, which I was not expecting, but they work really well. So I would say if you're looking for like a good budget-friendly moisturizer, check them out. So for those of you still here, thank you for listening to my detailed review of every single one of these REPHR brushes. What do I think at the end of the day? I think they had a very clumsy start as a company. I don't think the idea is bad. The idea of crowdsourcing feedback to improve a product, I don't think that fundamentally is terrible. I just hate the condescending, holier-than-thou way they represented themselves at the start. Now, it seems like they've completely just distanced themselves from that, considering the fact that they now have dozens of brushes for sale. So my only thing is I kind of wish they would have posted an acknowledgement of how that came across to like everyone who loves makeup and uses their makeup brushes. Excluding that though, looking at the actual brushes and judging them based on the quality of the brushes themselves, I'd say they are like 50-50. There's quite a few in here that like are new everyday go-to staples of mine, and I really, really enjoy them. And then there are other ones that I think, you know what, there's overlap. I don't think they're anything special. I think they're just blah. So would I recommend these brushes? I would recommend specific brushes. I would not recommend getting their full kits because you're going to get a lot of overlap if you buy all their brush sets, which is so funny because that's the exact thing they said they wanted to avoid, and I got so heated I just knocked over my fan, but literally the exact thing they said in their Kickstarter they're now doing because they sell brush sets that overlap. But anyway, I do think individual brushes could work well if you're looking for like a certain like brush for a certain application. Like if you have, Like if you struggle with looking for a bronzing brush because the brushes are huge, I would really, really recommend the 24 brush. It works really, really great. If you use cream blush or cream bronzer and you just cannot find a brush that applies them well and blends it out to the point where you don't need a sponge to smooth it out afterwards, get yourself the number 4 brush. I would really recommend watching videos, looking at the descriptions, and only picking up individual brushes if you think they're going to help you. The only exception is the mini brush set. If they have that brush set available, I would recommend that one if you have hooded eyes or if you have small set or deep set eyes, because those brushes have been so incredible. I've actually really, really enjoyed working with their small detail brushes. So like anything in this world, there is some good, there is some bad. I got a little bit salty in the middle there, but overall, I found a couple of new Holy Grail brushes, and I don't know how to feel about it. So do I think REPHR is the new Morphe? I think currently, not yet, but they very well could be. Because I could see a world where they keep expanding the types of products. I think sooner rather than later they're going to get into makeup. Eventually they're going to have to. And I think honestly there's a very good chance they could turn into Morphe. So we'll just have to keep our eyes out and see what happens next. Hello guys, I am editing this video right now and I kicked myself because this popped up in my email inbox literally the day after I filmed this video. But they're collaborating with influencers now to design brushes, and this is just the next step in that Morphe pipeline. Now, to be fair, I don't know if this is the very first influencer collab I've seen from REPHR. I thought I saw one before. I could be wrong. I don't know. It seems like the way that they're announcing this, it seems like it's the first one. So it's with Alexandra Anil. And I really do, like, adore her channel. It's really great. But she's collaborating with them on one brush. You can see here on the website they have her picture, what the brush is going to look like. They've already, I guess, released this in the concept store for certain people in order to buy it and then give feedback. But I'm just curious to see how this brush is going to sell, how many more of these collaborations we're going to see, and if this pushes people to even push their affiliate links and affiliate codes even more, especially if they collaborate with more people. So I just had to bring that up in this video. So thank you guys for listening to this long video that I've been literally thinking and working on for like months and months and months. Let me know what you think of REPHR down below, and if you're interested in any of their brushes. I will not have any affiliate links down below for this company, and I don't think I will. So that being said, my only affiliate links right now are an Amazon storefront, and then I also have a Shop Miss A affiliate link because I really, really adore Shop Miss A. Thank you guys for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye.